GSC DigiNet update. I'm Jim Cavale, Broadcasting Director with the Gulf South Conference here in the beautiful GSC DigiNet studios in Birmingham, Alabama at the Gulf South headquarters. And we have a lot to talk about as we've gone through half the month of September, and there's so much going on, not only in women's volleyball and men's and women's soccer, but of course on the gridiron. Several Gulf South Conference teams were in action this past weekend, and 3 of them got a chance to move up in the rankings nationally. Let's talk about that right away. Number 4, North Alabama, number 12, Valdosta State, and West Alabama all defended their turf well. UNA moved to 2-0 on the season and extended its streak versus regular season non-conference opponents to 15 behind a 48-21 victory over WVIAC foe Glenville State. VSU kicked off the week by hosting Thursday night's GSC TV Live Game of the Week, and the Blazers overcame penalties and a lack of offense by scoring 17 of their points on defense and special teams, winning 24-17 over in-region foe from the South Atlantic Conference, Newberry. West Alabama handed first-year head coach Will Hall his first ever victory in dramatic fashion in Saturday's 42-35 shootout win over Tarleton State. His running back Matthew Willis scored the game-winning touchdown, reeling off a 15-yard rushing score with just 53 seconds left. And finally, number 10, Delta State hit the road in their second straight week, cruising past in-region Southern Intercollegiate Athletic Conference foe Fort Valley State 27-7. The Statesmen rebounded from a 7-0 deficit in the first quarter, finding the end zone once in all 4 quarters of this matchup. Well, football isn't the only Gulf South Conference sport, of course, in the fall. We have women's volleyball, and of course we have men's and women's soccer. So let's see what's shaking in those realms. First off with volleyball, Christian Brothers, Valdosta State, and several other teams were in action this past week. But leading the way out of all the teams in non-conference action is North Alabama's 7-0 record. They are hot. West Florida struggling of late. They've lost 3 in a row and they're 2-6 overall. Remember, Melissa Walter likes to play a very tough non-conference schedule before getting in to the conference portion of the season. So it should be very interesting to see how that all plays out when we get underway with conference season, which is coming up in a couple weeks. We'll, of course, have all the highlights and stats and standings on GSC DigiNet. Getting into men's and women's soccer, first, the ladies, of course. Number 18 nationally ranked North Alabama has started off at 4-1 overall. Christian Brothers at 2-0 with 2 ties. And then Valdosta State, the new women's program down there in Valdosta, Georgia, is hot. They are 3-0 and really playing some great soccer. On the men's side, lots of teams in action this past weekend. And one of those teams that did really well was West Florida, winning a couple matchups and really putting themselves where they want to be going into conference season. We, of course, talked a little bit with Bill Elliott last week about West Florida's soccer matchups this year, and then going into conference play, we'll not only be covering West Florida, but all the teams in the Gulf South Conference, painting a picture of which teams will make it to this year's Gulf South Conference Soccer Championships. Well, that's it for this update here on GSC DigiNet, but we have a lot more coming up this week. Don't forget GSC TV Live this Thursday night from Carrollton, Georgia. West Georgia, led by Coach Daryl Dickey, will be on television via the GSC TV network. And then don't miss all the soccer and volleyball and football action going on this weekend. You can catch all the live stats and action through the Gulf South website at gscsports.org, or check us out on Facebook and Twitter for all the most up-to-date information in the Gulf South Conference. Until then, I'm Jim Cavale, and for the rest of the conference, I'd like to thank you for tuning in to GSC DigiNet.